probably stop doing the 4 o'clocks.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I'll
we're
check on
only
that.
doing one from CBS 42 now, so it would stream over our website.
Okay.
As long as FLA is not doing a Facebook Live, otherwise I would just record something and then just drop it in our website.
Okay.
And not do the Facebook Live, but just record on OBS. Is that there? Is that FLA's?
I don't think it's live right now. I'm not sure. Good afternoon, everyone. You're live in the CBS 42 Storm Team Weather Center in Birmingham, Alabama. Keeping a close eye on Hurricane Laura. Let's see if everybody's checking in real quick. Yep, okay, people are signing in. Sounds good. So we just got the advisory package that came in at 4 o'clock for the storm. And right now it's got winds up to 80 miles per hour. It already looks really well structured, and it has ever since it's been back towards Hispaniola. You know, the Dominican Republic and Haiti. It was already looking like a pretty large storm, and we can already tell that it's getting its act together, moving into these really warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. So we're going to be watching it really closely. The pressure's dropping. It's down to 990 millibars now. The lower the pressure is, the stronger the storm is. And again, winds up to, when the pressure drops, you have stronger winds that are forming. So 80 mile per hour winds already. This is not going to be like Marco, where it just kind of peters out. This is going to do the exact opposite, where if anything, it'll just keep on getting stronger before making landfall. So let's walk you through some of the latest forecast advisory stuff from the Hurricane Center. This is what we've got so far. Looks like I'm clicking through the wrong graphic system. My bad. Sorry, Ashley. I was clicking the links to button. So here's the forecast track. Latest track from the Hurricane Center has it reaching Category 3 strength before making landfall there, right near the Texas-Louisiana state line. That's the most likely spot for this thing to make landfall. It's consistently pushed farther to the west over the past couple of days, but this is the latest as of now. We'll wait to see if it pushes any farther to the west, but you can tell there that the cone of uncertainty has shrunk because we're getting closer and closer in time to this thing making landfall. So by that time, we could be looking at a Category 3 storm, if not anything stronger than that. I think if anything, it has a chance of being, at the very least, a Category 3 storm by landfall. And you can see there those hurricane watches and hurricane warnings there on the map. The hurricane warnings extend as far west as Houston and Galveston and as far east as the Mississippi River. You see there on the map that the hurricane warnings expand farther on the eastern side of the storm because that's where a lot of the storm surge is going to be, on that storm's eastern side, because in the northern hemisphere, hurricanes spin counterclockwise, and with the winds coming out of the south, on the right-hand side, that's where all the winds are kind of pushing all of that seawater ashore. That's where the storm surge is going to be higher. So the hurricane warnings farther east on the storm's eastern side. So here are the storm surge watches and warnings. We got storm surge warnings that go from, again, from Houston through southeast Texas over towards Port Arthur and Lake Charles, Jennings, Kaplan, all of Louisiana, under essentially all of the southern coast of Louisiana included with that storm surge warning. So that's pretty substantial. The storm surge watch goes over towards Lake Pontchartrain, so New Orleans, just under a storm surge watch. This will be a pretty big storm, the wind field of it, so it'll expand pretty far to the east, and even as far east as Gulfport, included with that storm surge watch. So we've got a new storm surge product. We're able to ingest National Hurricane Center data into our graphic system, so we can show with pretty high resolution what the storm surge forecast looks like. So everything that you see there in red, that is 9 or more feet of storm surge that's expected. That's really high. For anybody who's immediately along the coast, you want to get the message out there that they really have to move inland away from the coastline, because 9 feet of storm surge is a lot. That's enough to submerge, you know, the first story of any building that's right there along the coast. I know southern Louisiana isn't necessarily the most populated area, but if you do know of anybody, it's worth reaching out to them. That definitely not a bad idea to move farther inland. Over towards Houston, the gradient in the storm surge kind of drops off quickly, but still looking at around 6 to 9 feet of surge possible. from everywhere that's east of Houston. You notice how west of Galveston Bay, the storm surge doesn't look that high, towards Baytown and over towards Cove, Texas. Maybe not quite as high storm surge expected there, but certainly nothing, or certainly not nothing to say the least. So if you know anybody in Houston, it's worth getting the message out that even though as of right now they're going to be on the western side of the storm, which will not be as hard hit as the eastern side, it's still definitely worth watching. And then farther to the east, over towards Lake Charles, I think that Lake Charles certainly looks to be right in almost the bullseye of where the storm is really going to get hit, or the place that'll really get hit the hardest, I think. Right on the Texas-Louisiana state line is where appears to be, kind of the bullseye for where the storm is headed. Farther east, still looking at 9 feet of storage surge as far east as Abbeville, New Iberia, Franklin, Morgan City, Louisiana. This is going to be way more impactful than anything that Marco did. I know leading up to this, we were talking about this being kind of a double whammy. Marco kind of petered out a lot before it actually made landfall, but I think Laura will seriously outdo Marco for sure. Here's a look at the chances of tropical storm force winds. So this is anything that is 39 miles per hour or greater. You notice how here in Alabama, if you're watching here at home in Birmingham, most of those winds will stay west of us. That's not really the concern for us. But, as you move into Mississippi and Louisiana, those wind speeds will definitely increase with that 90% chance or greater there, that bullseye, right in that state line between Texas and Louisiana. Here's the probability of the hurricane force winds. Notice how this is much smaller because this hurricane winds cover a smaller area. But towards Beaumont, over towards Lake Charles, that is where the highest risk for those hurricane force winds are going to be. Now this is subject to change, as each mile makes a difference, but this is the latest as of now from this 4 p.m. advisory. And part of the reason why I've been saying, that this will be at the very least a Category 3 storm is because of how warm these ocean temperatures are. Anything traditionally above 80 degrees Celsius, or 80 degrees Fahrenheit, usually is supportive of tropical development. And right now the sea surface temperatures are 86 to 88 degrees. Anything that warm is usually pretty conducive to rapid intensification. We've seen that with Hurricane Harvey. We saw it rapidly intensify before landfall. We saw it with Hurricane Michael too a couple of years ago. The difference here between Harvey and this storm, I think, is that this will be moving much faster. For any of you who lived through Harvey, you know that the biggest problem with Harvey was that it made landfall and then just stopped. I don't think that this is what that's going to do, because it'll be moving pretty quickly and move inland. By Thursday afternoon, it's already almost up into Arkansas. So that's the big key difference there between Laura and Harvey. So here are the main takeaways. I think Laura has a good chance of rapidly intensifying because of those ocean temperatures. It'll be at the very least a Category 3 storm, so that's really significant. And over 9 feet of surge is really important to get the message out there that surge is the most life-threatening thing from a storm like this. So anybody in South Louisiana, in Houston, just tell them that it's not a bad idea to maybe move farther inland if they can help it, away from the coastline, because that's pretty significant for sure. And meanwhile, here in Alabama, while this storm kind of curves out through Arkansas and up through Tennessee, because we're on the right-hand side of the storm, we'll be watching for the possibility of maybe some tropical storm-generated tornadoes that may develop late Thursday, early Friday. As always, with any landfalling tropical cyclone, that's a possibility, so we'll be watching for that. As of right now, you saw how those tropical storm force winds will kind of stay to our southwest, but we'll be keeping an eye on that as the forecast develops. So that is the latest as of now. I'll try to go through the comment section and answer any questions that you guys might have. Feel free to leave a comment, tell us where you're watching from. And other than that, yep, Laura should be a really powerful storm, certainly a lot more powerful than anything Marco did. And that's all I've really got for now. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and take care.